All right, so somebody said I couldn't see the comments, so or people were saying they were commenting and I couldn't see anything. So I'm gonna try this one more time, see if it was just a temporary problem. Damn. I must be having problems with this with YouTube. Hey, can somebody comment for just to make sure that they're coming through? Apparently, I can see you now, Romaine, but I could not see anybody earlier. All right, now I can see some people. Before it was like nothing. So there were some topics that were going on before I got kicked off, or not kicked off, but yeah, I can see you, Ziggy. Dad makes, daughter breaks. Okay, I can see everybody now. So we were talking about stressed out truck drivers. A truck driver that got, that was hanged or hung or whatever in Henderson, North Carolina. Drivers getting shot driving down the highway. All right, yeah, that was a question as far as freight rates and volume. I've been doing pretty good as far as the freight, all that stuff goes. Previous to this, I just had another entirely set of headaches going on with what I was doing before, and I don't know if anybody came into this second live that wasn't around for the first one, but my headache level is going down from like a 9 to like a 2, maybe 3. So I am very excited about that. What's up, Tyler or Tyree? Yeah, I hear that. Somebody had asked me, and I really hadn't put this out there too much lately, but as to why I decided to not be running as many trucks and stuff like that. And it's not that I couldn't do it or keep doing it, and at some point it was going to start becoming easier and easier, and I kept looking towards December as that being the date. And there were just a couple things that happened, like kind of in the same ballpark, that really let me understand how vulnerable I am to things outside of my control. So I'm going to tell you one situation that really made me think about stuff. Now, one thing I'm going to say is my driver handled it perfectly. Had he not handled that situation perfectly, the money they were talking about on that situation would have been like basically a job ender, or not a career ender, but it would have finished me off at prime. So here's the situation. So there's a load that's going to McDonough. Now, the address, the GPS, everything is given the location for our drop yard, even though it's going to the cold storage place right across the street. So my driver asked a number of times, where do you guys want this dropped? Are you sure you want to drop it at the drop yard? Blah, blah, blah. Like double, triple check everything. So they get back with him, say, drop it off at the drop yard. So he drops the load off at the drop yard. 45 minutes later, for some reason, somebody turns off the reefer. Minus 10 ice cream load. Ruin. All of it. Total loss on that thing. Now, they go to him and they're asking him what's going on. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And he's like, hey, I asked, I did this, I did that. They really didn't get with me too much on it. But then there was a time when they called him into the office to talk to my fleet manager, my fleet manager's manager, and my fleet manager's manager's manager. So, had that load, had my man not documented all that through the Qualcomm, we aren't talking about deductibles. We're talking about recoup of the entire load, and there's just no way I was going to be paying no entire load. That just was not going to happen. And it made me just think of how vulnerable I'm leaving myself out here. And you know, I also looked at I'm in Denver. I'm at the Denver drop yard right now. For those of you guys that just came in here and wasn't really around at the beginning of my last one, I just sold my 2021 Peterbilt, so that's part of the reason that my stress level is starting to come down. But so I started looking about how vulnerable I am as far as that goes. There's another situation, not necessarily with me, but a guy. Now this wasn't. I don't know if he drove for a fleet, if he was like an owner-operator company driver. I don't know, but a prime truck got towed. I believe it was a flatbed. Got towed, the load and truck, $9,000 to recover. Now, you can't always, like, personally, I know I'm not going to park in a place where I'm going to get towed. It just doesn't happen. I don't give a fuck if I call Walmart and they say I can park there, or I go over here. You know, it's not going to happen. I'm not even going to put myself in that position, but I'm just me. And I just know if a driver parked in a place and they got towed and it was $9,000, they're not going to step up to cover that. It's not. And I just thought about that. I see it happen a lot because I have a lot of people sending me messages from their fleet manager. There was another truck that got a boot, I think, at a Walmart, $800, you know, for that. So if you take out, I mean, if you just think about how much you're exposed, it just wasn't worth the headache to keep doing it. Actually, I'm down to 2 trucks. I had the third of my 4 trucks. I just gave that shit back. And it was just getting to the point where it was going to be kind of downhill, but it was just like I had to go back to what my core beliefs were. And a lot of people aren't around when I first started this channel, I was really going to be a company driver, and I was saying, really, I don't need to make that much money. Maybe $1,000, $1,500 a week is going to be fine and all that kind of stuff. And then I kind of pivoted to this, and while I think things would have, I just can't get out of my mind how much exposure I have and how much I see people getting kind of fucked doing this. and I just decided I'm not going to do it. So anyway, but my core beliefs were, I got out of my previous business because of the stress, right? My stress level here was starting to get like worse than a business that was supposed to be stressful. Like, this was turning the easiest fucking job in the world into this almost the equivalent of the stress I was having in my previous job. And there's just no way that was going to happen. So as soon as I started thinking about it and found a way to kind of start coming out of this, it was just going to be a wrap. It was going to be over. Those guys just came in. I am in Denver, Colorado, our Denver drop yard. Do I support the LGBTQ? I support anybody, man. I'm not one of these guys that people could do what the fuck they want to do. I really don't care either way. Ukraine, what's up? KKK, you know what? I got a funny story about the KKK. It's a little bit, probably too much to get into in this video. That'd be a whole nother video all by itself. But I did become pretty close to a guy that his father was in the KKK. Yeah, Romaine, like I said, selling this 21, great move. Again, in December, this truck will be paid off, so we'll be back kind of coasting downhill again. So that just gives me a lot of flexibility, you know, in terms of, you know, I'm not trying to what am I trying to say? I will never be mad at anybody for taking a different opportunity. You know, for example, if I had a driver that wanted to go somewhere else, whether it be for time off, money, things like that, I'll just be it. Well, even right now, I'm at that point where I'm not holding anybody hostage or anything like that, and it's all downhill. Like, right now, I mean, I can't even believe how, like, what a weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I mean, it was almost to a point where it was almost like PTSD. Like, if a phone was ringing and it had a driver's name on it that was driving for me, I'd just be looking at it, just like, God damn! You know what I mean? Because it could be anything, man. And I'm telling you, you know, I've been in positions where, you know, when I first came out, where I could have probably ended up on Bonehead Truckers, you know, and but the difference is, when I did that kind of shit, that was kind of all on me. All of it, right? But, you know, just about every driver I've had has been in positions where they should have been on Bonehead Truckers. And one of them wouldn't have been on Bonehead Truckers because that particular driver was on a no truck route. So there was nobody around to take the picture and put it up there. The first time it happened, the driver was asking me, or saying, I hope I don't end up on Bonehead Truckers. And I was like, I didn't say anything, but they didn't post it on Bonehead Truckers. They posted, and I never told this driver this. They posted it on Facebook, and somebody says, you know, they write the remark, oh, that corner, you know, some obvious or some stupid shit that they would say when a driver cuts a corner too short and the trailer goes into a ditch but doesn't roll all the way over. Well, somebody took a picture of that, posted it on Facebook, and you could barely see the logo on the side of my truck, like the sun was hitting it, so you could, like, if you really looked, you could see it. And somebody in the comments wrote, "Is that one of No Hippies trucks?" And I fucking didn't say anything, and nobody pushed it any further than that. And I never told the driver that, because this particular driver would have really kind of let it get to her mentally. Pokerhead, I just sold a truck today, as a matter of fact. You know what, Wandering Wolf? Trucks are depreciating assets that you have to operate anyway, so I'll take the money that I made on the truck after running it and making money for X amount of years. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to tell anybody how to do anything. I'd almost thought about just, because I'm trying to wind this shit down. First of all, I don't have any ego when it comes to this shit either way, right? Like, owner operator, lease operator, company driver, doesn't fucking matter to me. I don't derive any, it's just not my thing. Like, it's not a flex to me in any way. So there was almost a time when I was really thinking about selling everything off as it came due, and then doing a company driver situation. And I think that's going to wear off a little bit, because I was sitting here for the last year. It was just I'd look at my shit and I'd do my numbers, for the last maybe not 10 months, and I'd look at my statement and I'd say, okay, here's how much I did last week. My net should have been $4,000, $3,500, $4,000. And then I look at my statement and it's less than 45, or even negative in some cases. So I think that the allure of not having any responsibility, no responsibility whatsoever. If I roll this shit, the worst that happens is, I maybe get, there's a freedom that comes along with being a company driver that I was so attracted to when I was going through all this shit. And there was a point when I was like, let me just sell all this shit off and then be a company driver. No, because when I get out of this, Tyree, I'm going to get out of it all. I might get, no. And just like I said before, the exposure is too much. Like I said, I had a driver do the right thing. Had that driver not had that shit, had this been a phone call, instead of a Qualcomm message going back and forth, I would have been eating at least $70,000 on that shit. No fucking deductible, no nothing. Eating that load, right? So I'm just you know what? I'm fine with me and another driver. By the way, I ran into him yesterday in Colorado. I always see him. He never sees me. He's the only one of my drivers I see out on the road, throughout the course of trucking. I forgot my damn point now. Oh. Yeah. No need in taking an easy job and making it stressful. If my driver leaves, like I said, for any particular reason, I'm not holding anybody hostage. I doubt I would ever get another driver back, even with 2 paid off trucks or whatever the situation would be at that point. I probably still wouldn't do that. All right, so let's see. AN, is your current truck an Epic with LED lights? All right, let me go through these comments real quick. This particular truck is an Epic with the LED lights. Let me turn the camera around. That one over there that I sold, that is a 21 without the Epic package. Shit. That's the 21 without the Epic package, but it has HID headlights. So I think that the LED headlights are great. I think that they always stay strong. But I think the HID lights, if when you first get them, like if for like maybe 6 months or something, they're like stronger than the LED lights, and then they do have kind of a little bit of fade on them after that. Let's see, if they're not rolling, they're not making money. You know, some of that is, I mean, nobody was not rolling. I think that they're, you know, I was talking to the guy that was driving or that bought my truck today. And we were talking, and he was like, you know, we were talking about different stuff. And he's like, man, he's like, I'm with you. He's like, if I got an 8-hour shift for like the first 3 hours, I'm like thinking, you know, how am I going to maximize this set? Where am I going to stop for fuel? You know, and just running all these different scenarios through their heads. And I don't think that a lot of people necessarily do that. And then there's not the benefit of doing it. So it's a little bit more than just running, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know. Dick Dickerson, I'm leaving trucking and becoming an electrician. $150K after 5 years, $50K to start. My son, I think is in his last year of being an apprentice electrician. He's the son that always buys me bourbon when I go home and all that kind of stuff. So that shit's taking longer to become an electrician than to become a goddamn doctor. But he seems to like it. You know, he'll be like, I don't know what he's doing right now, but he'll like, he does different shit. A lot of it's not residential. A lot of it would be like stringing lights at the Denver International Airport, on their runways. It could be stringing up dorm rooms and at CU Boulder. So I can't wait for him to be done. Running man, it's important to take a big dump in the morning. Hey, I agree. You know, I've been with some students that act like this shit that happens throughout the day comes out of nowhere. I'm like, bro, why do you, like, you didn't know that you were going to have to shit when you first woke up this morning? Like, it makes me laugh when it catches people off guard. Like, all right, planning on, okay, Romeo's burning, planning on lease purchase. One truck running until Prime says I can't any more than either sell it quick cash or put some Swift freight or pull some Swift freight in Texas and stay semi-local. If I lived in Texas, that would be the plan right there. Colorado is just not built like that. What I am gonna do at some point is I am gonna start slowing this shit down. But Colorado is horrible for like local type shit. As a matter of fact, part of the reason why I stay out so much in the winter is just you know, I know if I'm like out east, it's not going to be quite as bad. Every time I come home to Denver, you know, there's a good chance I'm going to be hitting some of that weather. And I wouldn't want to be dealing with that every single day. Wolfman, what were we talking about in the beginning? I did 2 lives. One live, I couldn't see all the comments. But I was talking about stress in trucking and how I'm surprised that there haven't been any truck stop shootings. Because if you really think about it, just go to Facebook, okay? I'm at Prime, but you got a bunch of whining ass people on Facebook at Prime. And they feel like the world is conspiring against them, or foreigners are conspiring against them, or brokers are conspiring against them, or whatever it is. And you take people like that and throw additional stress on them, I'm just surprised nobody's shot up a truck stop. Seriously, it's gonna happen. So I spoke about that a little bit, and I'm kind of afraid of it. Somebody had asked my thoughts about the guy that with the. Is my Zoom right now? Spoke about the truck driver that was hung in Henderson, North Carolina. Spoke about that a little bit. I think I said, you know, they were trying to say he did it to himself, and to me, I didn't really. That doesn't make sense to me either. Like, why would you, like, I guess you never know when you're going to kill yourself, you know, so maybe you could just be in the middle of a load and just say, you know what, or even worse, deliver a load. Like, who would have the responsibility to deliver a load and then kill themselves? You know what I mean? Like, they wanted to be that responsible and then kill themselves. I don't know. Spoke about that a little bit. That's about it. Okay, I love the HID lights. If I was gonna stay and order another truck, I'd get the HID lights. Yeah, they're good lights. Again, I think that the LED lights in these new Peterbilts may not stay as strong, or they may not start off as strong, but they don't fade down. Like, they don't fade down at all. And the HID headlights do seem like they fade just a little bit. All right, let's see. Wolfman82, sorry if you have answered. Are you gonna keep your trucks leased with Prime or move on? I'm not planning on leaving. All the headaches that Prime has been causing and all that shit, through all them headaches, I don't see myself going. It's just, I like low stress. Now, some of the shit that Prime's doing is increasing that stress. Like, they got us motherfuckers doing hokey pokey out there just to leave a shipper. Okay, now you got to do this. Send in your weights. Scan in this. Now they're wanting motherfuckers to take a picture of the lock and the seal before you leave. And next thing you know, it's going to be do a macro 25 and follow like high value procedures on every Tropicana or every bullshit load out there. Or, you know, then it's going to, you know, it's just too damn much. Calling people that don't want to answer the phone, sending in bills, filling out, like, it's just too much shit. So, but the good part is you don't have to stress out about some of the other stuff. You break down on the side of the road, boom. Don't have to worry about finding shit yourself, sending the information, no phone call needed, no nothing. They're out there to you. Don't really have to worry about setting up different, like this shit going on with the LLCs and everything. It's small shit, I know, but I don't have to worry about reporting all that. Prime is like, if they had a book called Truck Drivers for Dummies, that would be Prime system. Like, you don't have to think about anything. So I'm not looking to increase my stress again by learning another process or going outside of Prime or Now, who knows? They've been making a lot of changes lately, so they could come up with the one. I mean, there are a few things that I'm sure I can't maybe think of them off the top of my head that would be like no-goes for me that I could see him pulling, and maybe I would. The pain of that might be worth, leaving, but I don't see it. All right, let's see. I don't know what's... All right, so Tyree, the 24 Peterbilts have the LED headlights. And yeah, they are bright. Well, I appreciate that, Wolf, man. I'm going to be getting up on some bourbon here as soon as I get back home. My wife, or my son, dropped me off up here because my truck, there's an issue with it, and I didn't get it into the shop. So my personal truck, I can't drive it right now. So my wife, now here's some stupid shit right here. This is some woman shit right here. So my wife is going over to a baby's 1-year-old birthday party. Now, come on. Anybody out there remember their 1-year-old birthday party? So she's doing that. Then when they're done with that, she's going to come and pick me back up. Then I'll get home and get up on some of that. And actually, it's not bourbon. My son bought some shit that was not bourbon, but it was a very good whiskey with bourbon-like tendencies that I was very surprised at. Normally, I'd have ripped his head off. Not ripped his head off, but I let him know, if you don't follow what my orders are, so this time he kind of fell outside of the parameters and got lucky. So anyway, if I bring my truck into the shop for work, it's almost automatic I'm getting a camera. Might try to bring it to Manuka to... Hey, the cameras are coming either way, right? So I'm not sure if... Oh, I got to remember something. So I'm not sure if avoiding them is worth the trouble. I was up at Springfield for damn near a week last week, and I never heard anything about cameras in truck. All right, so let me, before I forget, I'm gonna drop a little gem on you guys. Maybe you don't. Let me try to. Damn. Anyway, I can't. Let me just turn this around first. All right, so when I am parking and I'm leaving a truck for extended period of time, like this truck right here, everybody else is backed in, right? Everybody's backed in. Why don't I back in? Okay, I got the APU turned off. I got the inverter turned off. I got everything. The truck turned off at basically a dead truck, right? That truck is still gonna die. If I was to, because I had to jump this truck I'm in now because it was sitting for a month up here. Had I not pulled forward into a spot and there were 2 trucks on either side of me, trying to jump my truck would have been hard. I didn't have that problem because, boom, I pulled head in. Truck was dead. All I had to do was go back to back on those 2 trucks. And then the jumper cables were long enough to extend. So that's a little gem I'm going to drop on new people. If you're going to be backing in, is not always the best move if your truck is going to be sitting any place for a while. It can become a serious headache. All right, let's get back to these. Hey, Florida would not be a place I would go either. I was thinking about moving or getting a vacation home or something to have going into retirement. shit like that. And my focus hasn't been on any of that shit for the last year. But I had thought about going down there, but it is too goddamn hot. I don't know if I could deal with that every damn day. I sold my truck. I did sell my truck to a prime driver. At first, they were trying to say he could not keep it on the fleet, and then they said he could. But I'm not sure it would have mattered either way, if you understand. I don't initial the temps just out of spite. I have done other shit. I know they don't look at the bills when you scan them in at the one, because I've said, if you look at the bills, it says, this, and then they acted like they couldn't see the bills for some reason. So, at some point, this shit, like, why is and I'm not even gonna mention, there are some people, there are just some people that are pushing to, like, I'm hearing it's the driver advisory board that's like pushing to get us to take pictures of the lock and the seal and all this stuff. And here's the thing, either you're hiring the wrong drivers, or you're actually having people break into, like, it should never get to a point where you need to be worried about drivers this damn much. Like, if you truly are believing that your trailer's getting broke into because drivers aren't putting locks on trailers, that's a bigger issue than not having locks on trailers. And at some point, I think, like, in this age of technology or AI or whatever they want to talk about, we should be streamlining processes, not adding shit to processes. Like, we shouldn't even have to call in for live load. Like, we could eliminate that little shit where you type in, like, the macro for the shipper thing. That could be a phone call. Like, that should be totally automated. What are like, that should be, like, there should be no hold to get a hold of a live load person. That should be damn near like you're calling the bank to check your balance. They ask you several questions as voice recognition, and then that accomplishes you typing out that macro and you calling for a live load call, unless there's a reason that it triggers a flag or something like that. Then, but adding shit at this point in technology just makes no sense to me. MAGA Madness, what was your buddy's lease terminated for? Romaine the trucker waited for almost 2 hours for a live depart call today. Okay, I'd give you 30 minutes, maybe, depending on where I'm at and what time it is and all that kind of stuff. Once it gets to be about 15 or 20 minutes on hold, I'm starting to type out my information. I'm sending a message to the fleet manager. This is for my live, load call. Please confirm. Put down the address, How many hours do I drive a day? I drive until my clock is exhausted if I'm not where I need to go. Now, that being said, that's not always. I'm not going to drive, like, until my clock is dead if I'm going up into the New York, New Jersey area, something like that. But I might use a split, so it really depends. But I am a guy that will run my entire clock out. if it's available and I'm in position to do it. I don't believe in the rationing hours. I do not believe that shit. I don't believe if you run 8 hours a day, you never run out of hours. I've tried to run out of hours and was not able to run out of hours. So I don't fall for that one. But man. So this particular truck right here was a truck that was driven. I had a driver that was she just got out of the truck a little while back, which was why I flew out to Georgia to pick up the truck. Not because she abandoned it, but the truck had broke down in Georgia, and I just told her, you know what, just go ahead and go home. But how paranoid against germs do you gotta be to have some shit like this? This is like who has this shit? Like, I just never got around to throwing it away. But I mean, who has this much hand sanitizer? Like, this is like a lifetime supply. I'm trying to get this truck set up. Oh shit. Can somebody type a message? I don't know if I'm missing some shit or not. But who keeps... Hey, can somebody type a message? Or Romaine, if you happen to be watching this still, let me know if I'm missing messages. The last messages I'm seeing is from too much. How many hours you drive in a day? And then nothing after that. I think I'm having some problems. Alright, I might log off of here right quick. YouTube is having some problems today, so I don't know why I'm missing messages. I just logged off and logged back on to see if that would help. And apparently it doesn't look like it's going to help. Alright. Let me try one more thing. And I tell you,